Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation J VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be trying out a fun team centered around Shaymin Sky. This team was built by 2017 World Champion Ryota Otsubo, one of my all-time favorite team builders and players in competitive VGC, and Shaymin Sky is a unique mythical Pokemon. It's not the most powerful, but it is fast, it gets access to moves like Air Slash, Seed Flare, as well as Tailwind, and with Serene Grace as its ability, you'll be able to get secondary effects fairly frequently, whether it be flinches from Air Slash or special defense drops from Seed Flare. The Shaymin has Tailwind to help boost up its partner's speed, namely Lunala, and you also have powerful Pokemon like Scarf Urshifu, Pelipper, Safety Goggles Raging Bolt, and a very cool Ursaluna set with Assault Vest and Ghost Terra Shadow Claw as well as Giga Impact. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's get started. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying PokePaste down in the description below. This team utilizes Serene Grace Shaymin Sky to help set up with Tailwind, and it's also really disruptive. Air Slash has a 60% chance to flinch your opponents thanks to Serene Grace, and Seed Flare will be able to harshly drop your opponent's special defense. That's really nice because you have multiple special attackers on this team that are slower than Shaymin, so you can often go Seed Flare into a special attack to just get a knockout onto your opponent's end. You've got Scarf Water Urshifu, which is really handy in pressuring with damage, especially when paired with Pelipper in the rain, and a very unique Ursaluna set. This is Assault Vest Ghost Terra Ursaluna with Shadow Claw as well as Giga Impact. You're really able to catch opponents off guard with this Ursaluna and threaten them with one-hit knockouts. Shadow Claw in particular, super good into all those Life Orb Shadow Riders that are out there, and Giga Impact can just be a very powerful attack that opponents generally won't anticipate. Overall, though, Shaymin, really fun Pokemon in both helping set up the team with speed control as well as disrupting and dealing significant damage with Air Slash and Seed Flare. Breaking down the team, the first Pokemon to highlight is Shaymin Sky. Shaymin Sky has a great base speed and great base special attack, an incredible ability in Serene Grace, which doubles the chances of your secondary effects, and some awesome moves in Air Slash as well as Seed Flare. Question of the day, by the way, I want to know what your favorite Gen 4 memory was down in the comment section below, inspired by us using Shaymin. Now, Shaymin is awesome because you are able to use it to often get quick knockouts when comboed with other special attackers on this team. Seed Flare is one of the most powerful special grass type attacks that exists in the game, and it has normally a 40% chance of dropping your opponent's special defense by 2, but with the Serene Grace, that actually goes up to 80%. So not only do you do a ton of damage with Stab Seed Flare, you are also able to combo with something like a +1 Meteor Beam or a Thunderbolt, for example, or Draco Meteor, and often that's going to be enough to knock out a lot of common Pokemon in the format. The main thing here is that Seed Flare's accuracy is not 100%, it's only 85%, so you will miss sometimes, and that does feel really bad when you're trying to double up onto something for a knockout, but when this move connects, it feels absolutely amazing. Air Slash, of course, is also powerful, and it gives you a very good chance of flinching your opponent. The 30% chance to flinch turns into 60%, so more often than not, when you click Air Slash, you will be flinching your opponent with this Pokemon, which is awesome. Otherwise, the Shaymin here is designed to set up Tailwind, which is namely helpful for the Lunala and the Raging Bolt to take advantage of. Lunala in particular, under Tailwind, of course, will be able to outpace all the really fast threats in the format, like your max speed Koraidons, your Shadow Riders, as well as your Miraidons, and it's a really nice combo with Shaymin. Shaymin here has Ghost Terra, which allows you to get around fake outs, which is really valuable, and also gives you an immunity to normal type damage from, for example, extreme speed Arceus. And so I find Shaymin Lunala to be a really nice lead with this team, where you can just immediately try to pressure with Tailwind or go for something like Seed Flare into damage from Lunala. The Lunala on this team is meant to be as offensive as possible. It's modest max special attack with Power or Meteor Beam, which of course gives you coverage against Incineroar and Fire types. The main thing to call out is that you have Dazzling Gleam rather than Moonblast, and so it's going to be weaker as an attack, but it means that you can ignore redirection, which is really nice, and so this is helpful when you are going up against Pokemon that normally would be protected, of course, by a redirection user. Wide Guard is really helpful on the Lunala, and of course, very, very good into the Calyrex Shadow Rider matchup, but otherwise just an awesome utility move as well. So just keep in mind that if you are used to playing with Trick Room on Lunala, you don't have it here. You also have offense from the Choice Scarf Urshifu. This is just classic Water Tera Urshifu. I will say I found myself wanting Ghost Tera a good bit when using this, and so that's one Tera that you can consider. Water Tera is really great from an offensive standpoint, but it means that you're a little bit more vulnerable to fake outs on turn 1. But of course, the idea behind Urshifu is to just try to go for Surging Strikes most of the time or close combat and deal a ton of damage. Water Tera paired with Pelipper setting up the rain means that you get a lot of multipliers, right? And so it can turn Urshifu into a Pokemon that two-shots things into one-shotting things. Pelipper is the Pokemon that I find myself probably bringing the least with this team, but it is still a valuable bring into Koraidon teams, of course. You've got Covert Cloak here, so that's helpful against the fake-out users like Rillaboom and Incineroar. And this Pelipper is still offensive. Normally you'll see Focus Sash on Pelipper, but the Sash is obviously taken up on Shaymin, and so instead you've got Covert Cloak. Weather Ball, Hurricane for offense, Wide Guard for support. What I like about this team is having double Wide Guard with Pelipper and Lunala, and then Protect. The Assault Vest Ursaluna on this team is super interesting because that's not an item that you really ever see on Ursaluna. Of course, normally people just use Flame Orb, but the idea behind Ursaluna is like it's got such an incredible base attack anyway, like even without Guts, this still does a ton of damage, right? And so Assault Vest Ursaluna is really awesome. You could utilize this into Miraidons, into Shadow Riders, for example. One of the best ways to deal with Shadow Rider with this team is just lead Ursaluna and then Shadow Claw it. People normally expect Ursaluna to not be able to like one-shot their Pokemon without the Guts boost, but you've got Shadow Claw and you've got Giga Impact, and so this Ursaluna actually still can get a lot of one-hit knockouts, and I find that a lot of Shadow Riders disrespect the Ursaluna on turn 1, and you are able to just knock them out with Shadow Claw in return, which is really awesome. Raging Bolt's the final option on this team, and this is going to be a bulky Raging Bolt. The main thing to note here is that you've got safety goggles, and so this is going to make it a valuable bring into, of course, Moongus as well as Brute Bonnet and Smeargle. Shaymin plus Raging Bolt means that you just have like a complete Spore immunity as a duo, and so I find that this is often a really nice lead if your opponent has a Moongus or Brute Bonnet in Team Preview, for example. Otherwise, fairly straightforward. It's just going to be Electric Thera, Thunderbolt, Draco Meteor, Thunderclap. In terms of ways with playing with the team, I think Shaymin plus Lunala is definitely one of my favorite leads where you just pressure with a lot of offense immediately, including the Seed Flare into any attack here or Tailwind into a Lunala getting the speed boost. Shaymin Ursaluna I actually find to be a really awesome lead as well, especially into Calyrex Shadow Rider teams where I can just go for Protect into Shadow Claw on turn 1. And the Ursaluna here can't really take advantage of Tailwind that much because it's just base, normal speed and you don't have any speed investment. That being said, under Tailwind, Ursaluna can still outspeed some of the slower Pokemon, and with this, I often find that people are really scared of Shaymin, and so I like Protect Shaymin on turn 1, and then Ursaluna can just get a big attack off. You can also consider things like Pelipper plus Urshifu, which allows you to set up the rain for Urshifu immediately, dealing a lot of damage with Water Tera Surging Strikes. Urshifu I think can also be led with Lunala, Shaymin, Raging Bolt, just to put on a lot of pressure with damage immediately. And then into sun-oriented teams like Koraidon plus Brute Bonnet plus Fluttermane, I find Electric Tera Raging Bolt to be a pretty nice option where you can go for something like Shaymin plus Raging Bolt. And often I do like considering protecting on Shaymin to bait out damage into it on turn 1 while getting a lot of damage off with the partner Pokemon. Shaymin, of course, is still going to be outsped by a good bit, whether it be your max speed Koraidons, your Fluttermanes, your Shadow Riders. And so sometimes what I like doing is going for like Electric Tera, Thunderbolt to do a lot of damage into something enough where it can be in Thunderclap KO range, and then Shaymin afterwards can set up a Tailwind in the subsequent turn. So those are some modes that you can consider while playing with the team. So in terms of things to watch out for, I think the first thing to call out is that Shaymin is a Pokemon that can feel a little bit volatile because Air Slash and Seed Flare both can miss, and if you don't get your secondary effects, that also can feel pretty bad. Shaymin's a Pokemon that often won't get a one-hit knockout by itself and is being used in combination with its partner to finish things off, and so when you don't get those secondary effects, or even worse, when you miss, Shaymin can feel really, really bad. In addition, Shaymin does not love going against Pokemon that are faster than it, so Koraidon, Miraidon, Fluttermane, Champao, and Shadow Rider are all some examples. Also, obviously, Shaymin likes relying on secondary effects, and so if you have something that can prevent those secondary effects, namely the Covert Cloak here, then that can also be a dent to it. And then finally, I think Steel types and Steel Terras are annoying for Shaymin because, of course, they're just really good defensively. So those are all things to watch out for. Priority is also annoying because Shaymin often does get brought down to Focus Sash, and then so if you get brought down to Sash, you normally will get another attack off because of how fast Shaymin is, but with Priority, you won't always be able to guarantee that. Otherwise, some weaknesses across the board to note. Lunala here has no bulk and it doesn't have protect, right? And so your opponents can take advantage of that. This is going to be weak, obviously, into opposing ghost and dark type attacks. And with no bulk, you're going to be a lot weaker into, for example, Crunch from Chien-Pao, Wicked Blow from Dark Urshifu, opposing Moongeist Beams. Since, yeah, with no bulk, even with Shadow Shield, you often won't be able to survive. Pelipper here has no Focus Sash and no bulk, and so you're going to be exceptionally weak to electric type damage. Ursaluna here is this, unique Assault Vest set, but if your opponents know about the set, I think that actually will give them a pretty big advantage. And so, for example, they can go for Defensive Terra with Shadow Rider just to get around Shadow Claw doing super effective damage. Ursaluna is going to be slow. It's vulnerable to getting doubled up into since it does not have Protect. Raging Bolt here is Electric Terra, and so you're going to be weak to ground type damage pretty consistently, and you are not the speediest Pokemon here either. Even with Tailwind, you can still get outsped by things, and so Raging Bolt has to worry about getting doubled up into. Urshifu here is going to be weak to Grass and Electric type damage because it can't Terra out of it, and so opposing Raging Bolts, opposing Rillabooms can be really scary for it, and then Fake Out can be annoying for it as well. In terms of restricteds, I think a well-played Shadow Rider is still really scary for this team because even though you have Wide Guard and even though you have the Ursaluna, I find that Life Orb Psychic, for example, just does so much damage to a lot of Pokemon. And if your opponent predicts your Wide Guards, that can be a pretty big nuisance. Otherwise, I think opposing fast teams can be annoying. Trick Room can be pretty annoying because you do have Ursaluna, but it's not like this Ursaluna just sweeps opponents under Trick Room. So well-played Trick Room team, I think, can cause some trouble as well. Smeargle I find to actually be one of the most annoying Pokemon because Smeargle plus Shadow Rider, as an example, is going to be annoying because you have to respond to Smeargle and Shadow Rider simultaneously, and that's not very easy to do because you often are feeling the pressure of Spore, but you're also feeling the pressure of Astral Barrage. So yeah, I think even though you have double Wide Guard on this team, you still have to be really careful about playing against Shadow Rider. And the last mythical or restricted Pokemon I've actually struggled against is a well-played Arceus, which might seem weird because you've got the Lunala here and then you've got Ghost Shaymin as well as Ghost Terra Ursaluna, but I think it's just the amount of priority is really scary because if Arceus gets Choice Band, Normal Terra, Extreme Speed, or +2 from a Sword stance, Pelipper, Raging Bolt, Urshifu will often just fall to it immediately, and Arceus is also pretty bulky, so you can't knock it out super quickly. And so yeah, I find that even though you've got Ghost Terras here, Arceus, if played well, can actually be very scary as well. So those are a couple of things that I wanted to note about the team. Okay, we've got Trick Room Magearna here with Annihilate, Pelipper, Ursaluna, and Urshifu. Ice Rider is not exactly the most fun Pokemon for Shaymin to go up against, so you have to be careful about that. If you want to set up Trick Room, it's probably just going to be Annihilate Magearna, Annihilate Ice Rider. I actually do think Shaymin plus the Lunala is interesting because I can go for Seed Flare into Moongeist Beam. Otherwise, what am I considering? We're going to want to bring Pelipper into this matchup because of Wide Guard. I think Peli, Lunala, Shaymin, Urshifu. Shaymin, Lunala lead, Urshifu, Peli in the back. And the idea behind Shaymin plus the Lunala is anti-Annihilate. This way you can't just Final Gambit and KO a Pokemon. Whereas they should be max speed, so they should outspeed Scarf Urshifu, which means they could just Final Gambit Ursh. But it's going to be Urshifu plus Ice Rider lead. Okay. I don't mind that. But it's a question of what I want to do on turn 1. Honestly, I'm personally leaning towards Seed Flare. Do I want to Seed Flare plus Meteor Beam? I think I'm down. Yeah. So then I think Ice Rider could obviously protect here, but they don't. It's just Scarf U-turn. Okay. And they don't Terra the Ice Rider either, so we should just knock it out here, which would be huge. Pelipper comes in, okay. That's fine with me. Seed Flare doesn't miss. Great. Look how much damage that does. Wow. And Meteor Beam comes out. Fantastic. I think the main scary thing here on turn 1 is we could miss either attack. But neither miss. And we get a knockout. Fantastic. Okay. Which means no Trick Room, but honestly their team is less hard Trick Room than anticipated now with like the Peli plus Scarf Ursh. I was expecting Annihilate to have the Scarf, of course, and Urshifu to be like dark, right? But that's okay with me. We should just angle to get the knockout onto this. I do have Fairy. I mean, I have Dazzling Gleam here, but this can obviously Wide Guard. Probably better to just Moongeist into this. I'm not even sure a Surging KO's here. So I'm down to just Seed Flare plus Moongeist Beam. Yeah. I think Shaymin survives this. It's actually really close. Let's see. Oh, let's go, Shaymin. Okay, does Seed Flare connect? I could have gone for Air Slash there. Seed Flare does connect, though. Nice. I figured in that position... I mean, does Urshifu ever survive Air Slash? Because if not, then I think it's just better to Air Slash there. Seed Flare does cover for, like, Urshifu pivoting out into the Magearna. But, yeah, this was Shaymin just providing incredible offense. Like, Seed Flare is no joke. This is a really powerful attack. You just have to hopefully hit it. And now it's just Magearna. So it's interesting because Team Preview, it screamed hard Trick Room, but they did not actually go for Trick Room. They couldn't even really get it up. Like, the way for them to have set it up on turn 1 would have been to protect Ice Rider. But Urshifu just is not the most threatening Pokemon to Shaymin, and this highlights, like, one of the nice things about Shaymin, which is that you do obviously have some very nice offensive coverage into water types. So your Water Urshifus, your Kyogres are going to struggle a little bit more. But, yeah, I was kind of surprised to not see a Terra from either Urshifu or the Ice Rider. Ice Rider, I thought maybe could have Terra defensively on turn 1. If they Terra defensively on turn 1, maybe Meteor Beam doesn't get the knockout then, actually. I also wasn't sure what item they were going to have, right? If you're Clear Amulet, obviously I can't get a special defense drop onto you. But if you're like the Leftovers set, then I could get a special defense drop, and then Meteor Beam could knock you out even through Terra. But yeah, I think Air Slash Meteor Beam actually also would have gotten the knockout, but if they Terra'd, it certainly wouldn't have. Whereas I thought even if they Terra'd, maybe Seed Flare plus Meteor Beam could get the KO. That being said, I think given Seed Flare did just around 50%, like I don't think Meteor Beam would get the knockout, but either way, like the Urshifu just wasn't exerting that much offensive pressure, and us being able to survive U-turn into Surging was really nice. In my head, I was like, I don't really mind Pelipper being out on the field. If I knock out your Urshifu with either Seed Flare or Moongeist Beam, then I get a free switch into my Urshifu. You set up the rain with your Pelipper, then my Urshifu can just go Water Terra, Surging Strikes the Magearna, and that should win us the game. So key thing in this matchup is just denying them Trick Room, and with them not going for Trick Room turn 1 or protecting or Terrying their Ice Rider, I think it just is often really difficult to come back. Okay, we have the Miraidon Terapagos team that was quite popular, piloted by Francesco from Italy to get top 8 at the North American International Championships. It's Electric Seed on the Terapagos, which is really cool. How do we want to approach this? I think Ursaluna is really interesting. I have to be very careful about bringing the water types here into the Miraidon. It's probably something like Shaymin, Lunala, Ursaluna, Urshifu. And I'm actually thinking about just leading Shaymin plus Ursaluna here, with Urshifu, Lunala in the back. Part of the theory behind this is if you lead Miraidon, I can just turn 1 Protect and threaten the Miraidon slot. It'll honestly probably force a switch out. But let's see. Okay, just gonna be Miraidon Terapagos immediately. That's fine. My question here is whether or not, like, the Miraidon just hard switches turn 1. Because I'm leaning towards Protect Earthquake. Protect Earthquake here. Feels okay to me. It's not like I can Tailwind and outspeed Miraidon. Yeah, I think I'm generally okay with this. This breaks the shell, and they actually don't switch out with Miraidon, which I'll take. Nice. They just Volt Switch into our Shaymin. Terapagos Calm Minds, yep. The good thing is, I've got Wide Guard, which should be helpful into Terapagos and an Assault Vest, Ursaluna. And the end game I want to set myself up for is Scarf Urshifu out and just Surging Strikes into Terapagos. So we break Terra Shell now. Yeah, it begs the question as to whether or not maybe it was more optimal to just Headlong Rush Miraidon, try to get the knockout onto it immediately. They're going to pivot out now. Good Tailwind. Sinistra coming in would make sense. I'm honestly thinking about just Air Slash Earthquake here. And I think I'm down for that. Like, 60% chance for the flinch. Let's see. Nice. And we get the flinch. And Terapagos Calm Minds again. Okay. I'm like fine letting it get its boost stuff because I know that I have Shaymin with Focus Sash as well as Wide Guard. But yeah, I think Earthquake did a little bit less to Miraidon than I would have hoped. And it is Assault Vest bulky Miraidon on this team, I believe. And so it may have been a little bit smarter to just go for Headlong Rush on turn 1 and try to eliminate it right away and force a Pokemon to come out. I was thinking it'd be nice to break the shell on Terapagos, but honestly, shell being broken right now is not super relevant anyway. It's more important as we get to the end game. So I wonder if there's a Sinistra coming out. For now, it's just Incineroar. Okay. Incin out. You can obviously fake out into Shaymin. Leaning towards protecting here. Headlong Rush into Incineroar. Basically, we have to be very careful about this, right? Because I am giving multiple boosts to my opponent. They're actually going to hard pivot, which I think is smart. Probably Sinistra. Yeah, that makes sense. Heal yourself back up. Nice bait. I like that a lot by them. So Shaymin will protect here. I wonder if they just Calm Mind again, honestly. Yeah. I think now you should switch the Terapagos back out into Incineroar. And then probably Terra Starstorm. I wonder if I want a Tailwind here. Also, if you Terra this, then you're a huge liability because then Lunala can just Wide Guard, which is really big. So I actually wouldn't mind them tearing right now. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Air Slash here and Headlong Rush. So there's the pivot. I really like that play last turn, like bringing in Incin just to switch it out immediately using your Fake Out Pressure. Okay. Nice, and they Terra. Sweet. So even though this turn is going to really pack a punch, that's okay with me. Because now I know that I can just wall you with my Wide Guard from Lunala. No more terrain, not super relevant. Air Slash there into Incin. Air Starstorm comes out. I don't even know if this knocks out AV Ursaluna, but let's see. Yeah, it doesn't. Wow. Get Headlong Rush. Okay, now obviously they could switch back out into Sinistcha once more like they have been doing. That's still fine with me, I think. I'm down to just still protect here and give up my Ursaluna. Yeah. Go for Protect Earthquake here. Okay, and they just stay in this time around. That's fine by me. Fake out into Shaymin. Yeah. And now that I've baited you into tearing, I can just bring out Lunala and start walling you with Wide Guard. The thing is, you literally cannot hit Shaymin because your moveset is going to be Terra Starstorm or Earth Power, Calm Mind, Protect. So Shaymin just walls him right now completely. So this is kind of mean. But now we'll just bring out Lunala. And I'm just going to keep clicking Wide Guard essentially. So Air Slash into you, Wide Guard this turn. You can keep Calm Minding maybe with the Terapagos. What we want to do is get Terapagos down to around like, 50-ish%. So then I can just water Terra Surging Strikes in this end game. But Shaymin can obviously like chip away, can even drop its special defense with Seed Flare. Crucial thing here is like the Terapagos right now just cannot really do meaningful damage. So here's Wide Guard. Air Slash doesn't miss, so we take care of Incineroar. Very nice. They're probably going to just start Calm Minding here, but they Terra Starstorm. Nice. One thing to think about is that you also only have limited PP with Terra Starstorm. Into the Wide Guard stuff. It's exceptionally difficult. Sinistcha comes out. Hospitality. So I can Wide Guard again right now. Just Air Slash here. My only question is whether or not Air Slash knocks out Sinistcha. I'm actually thinking about protecting here and just Moongeist beaming. Yeah. Mainly because I don't want Shaymin to get knocked out here. Or, I don't want Sinistcha to get an attack off, essentially. I know Moongeist Beam should be stronger than the Air Slash. Perfect. Cool. Now it's a 3v1. And, like, here I don't mind if they Earth Power into me, right? Or Calm Mind. That's fine. Yep, it is going to be the Earth Power. That's okay. So the question is, do I want to Air Slash right now, or do I want to Seed Flare? I think I'm leaning towards Air Slashing. The question is, like, they might Earth Power again, but I think that's okay. I think this turn Air Slash, maybe next turn Seed Flare. I honestly am thinking about just Meteor Beaming this turn. But I think we want to guarantee at least one more attack off, yeah. So I think at this point it's like, if we get just one flinch in the next couple of turns, we should be in excellent shape. We actually miss Air Slash. The 5% miss. That's a little less than ideal. Okay. I am still going to Air Slash and Wide Guard here. Because basically the cool thing right now is with Wide Guard, you can't hit the Shaymin, right? So it means I get at least 2 Air Slashes off. And we flinch them, nice. Although actually, yeah, the shell's already broken right now, so it's not like I actually need the... I mean, we're just getting some chip onto this, right? I'm just debating about going for Seed Flare plus Meteor Beam this turn. We're going to Water Terra this in the end game for sure. I think they're going to click Earth Power, so I'm actually going to go for the Seed Flare plus the Meteor Beam. Seed Flare doesn't miss. Nice. And special defense drop. Sweet. Okay, cool. This probably might be enough to just put them in Water Terra Surging Strikes. And, like, we'll see if they made the right play here and went for Terra Starstorm. I think it's just such a huge risk to take. Okay, nice. Yeah, and they go for Earth Power. Nice. That should win us the game. That actually did get the knockout onto Lunala, so that's part of the reason why I wanted to go for this. I felt like I needed the burst of damage this turn. But now I get Urshifu out. Perfect. Now we can just go for Air Slash here, Water Terra, Surging Strikes. Shaymin was excellent for us in this game, honestly. And the Assault's Ursaluna was actually really cool as well. But yeah, Shaymin's a Pokemon with a wide range of emotions when you play with it, because there's so much that can happen. So, Water Terra Surging now, crits through the defense. This Terapagos is so... It might survive this Air Slash, actually. Let's see. Okay, we're good. Whew, that was scary. But yeah, you can see I needed every little bit of damage that I got in this game in order to deal with Terapagos there. So we got it just low enough. Unfortunately, we did get the special defense drop with Seed Flare, but obviously the odds are overwhelmingly in our favor there. But yeah, I think in this game, it's like I figured once I had used Wide Guard a bunch, I'd condition my opponent into thinking, surely, like, you're going to just keep clicking it. And so I was like, but I know that I actually need damage onto the Terapagos because every little bit of damage counts when you're going up against such a bulky Terapagos. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for the Seed Flare plus Meteor Beam play because I think that's probably my highest probability play that turn. And yeah, like, we may have actually probably lost if I didn't get the special defense drop, right? The other way I could have played the game out was like just keep fishing for Air Slash flinches, but I'm not really moving the needle in terms of damage, and I felt like I needed to like burst my opponent. The other thing I was thinking about was whether or not the +4 Earth Power was actually going to get the knockout onto Lunala, because I thought there was a chance that maybe I could survive that, given how much +3 did into Shadow Shield. And if the Lunala survives that even with 1 HP, then I'm able to get some extra damage off. It means 1 more Seed Flare into 1 more Dazzling Gleam, and then that would put the Terapagos into KO range as well. So yeah, wasn't sure what the damage roll on that specifically was either. But overall, that was a really tense game, but Shaymin was awesome. Shadow Rider, Urshifu, Chien-Pao, Incineroar, Raging Bolt. Okay. So they don't have Tailwind. There's nothing like a Tornadus here. Wouldn't be surprised if this were Ruination, Chien-Pao with the Salt Vest, and then the Sash is actually on Calyrex. Bolt is also spooky for my Urshifu. I think it's Ursaluna, Shaymin, Lunala, Urshifu. The main debate I had here is whether or not I should lead Urshifu, but was a little bit scared too in the face of Incineroar or Raging Bolt. Because it's like Water Terra Scarf Ursh would crush a Chien-Pao Shadow Rider lead or a Pao Zama lead. Ursa's really good into Shadow Rider. Something like Instant Shadow Rider would be really scary for like Shaymin. Although I guess against that I could just Protect Switch out into Ursaluna turn 1. Oh, it is Calyrex Shadow Rider. Urshifu would have been amazing here. Okay. I don't love this because Shaymin is threatened by 2 different Pokemon that outspeed it. Like, I could obviously just Protect turn 1. I don't want to Ghost Terra this because then it makes me weak to Astral. But are they really going to Astro, right? Because I'm actually thinking I could maybe get an attack off here with Shaymin. I'm going for Protect Shadow Claw. But my guess is they're Focus Sash Calyrex, in which then this doesn't even work out that well for me. It is just an Astro to start, though, so I'm happy about that. Spinner, okay. They split their damage, so leaves me wondering if I could have just attacked with Shaymin. Oh, it's not Sash Calyrex. Okay, that's huge. It's a crit, but that's just overkill, especially with Sword of Ruin. Okay, I will gladly take that turn. The fact that they are not sashed is huge. Probably Life Orb then. But it meant that then they could have doubled up onto the Ursaluna. Zamazenta comes in. Can spin her into this. I don't need a Tailwind this turn, right? Like, I think I can Air Slash Zama Earthquake here. I guess they could double up onto Shaymin, but that would be okay, right? Because then I bring out Urshifu and I Surging. Yeah, I'm gonna Air Slash Earthquake. Okay, they Ice Shard me, but that's fine. Good to know you have Ice Shard, though, because it means Shaymin's more threatened next turn. Air Slash. No flinch, unfortunately. Okay. Position for Ursh, then. I'm worried about Bolt Forth from their end, but I think here I'm going to go Protect, Water Terra, Surging Strikes into Chien-Pao. But if Bolt is the 4th... Oh, man, and they're switching. I don't love that. Is that Bolt coming in? No, it's their Urshifu. Okay, that's not as bad for us to see, I think. I wonder if I could have won the game if I actually just doubled up onto their Zama this turn. But I think the Ice Shard into Shaymin obviously is a big threat. Oh, they didn't Terra Zom, so maybe I could have. Does this even do over 50%? I don't think so. That's not very strong. And they're probably body pressing Urshifu. That was a really nice play by my opponent. Oh, okay, they heavy slammed. Oh, I don't mind that, I guess. I really need a knockout this turn, and I don't think Aqua Jet KOs me here. Because if I get a knockout, then I just KO Chien-Pao the subsequent turn. I'm leaning towards... Oh, I could Tailwind as well, actually. That might be not a bad play. The alternative is just Air Slash Surging Zama. I'm worried that this Terras. But then I have the flinch chance. I'm gonna Air Slash Surging. Yeah, with Urshifu being their last one, if they went Ice Shard last turn into Shaymin and I knocked out their Chien-Pao, I think I'd be in a really fantastic shape with Lunala 4th. It is going to be a Terra commit, yeah. On Urshifu, Terra Water maybe for a stronger Aqua Jet. That might KO Shaymin. Okay. I think that gets me. Yeah. I mean, I could have switched Shaymin out there, but is it really worth it when your opponent will have 2 different moves that can knock you out? Probably not. It's not bad damage from Surging. Like, another one will KO. So the question is, do I survive Body Press into Aqua Jet? I honestly don't think so with, like, no bulk here. Ah, it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. Meteor Beam into you here, Surging into you. You could also switch your Zama out into POW for Sword of Ruin. I actually would do that if I were my opponent, and then go Aqua Jet into my Urshifu. Yeah, I think Shaymin just couldn't thrive as much in this game because they had so much priority, both the threat of Ice Shard as well as Aqua Jet. The Ice Shard was a big deal because it made me protect a Shaymin, and it's not the most common move on Shampoo, but it is a very good one. Because if you're your standard Shampoo set, I can just get around like a Sucker Punch. Yeah, they found the play. Nicely done. Unfortunately, I think that will spell my demise unless I somehow survive this Aqua Jet, but Sword of Ruin plus Water Terra makes me think my Urshifu is goodbye. Let's see. Yep. Nicely done. Yeah, the Water Terra being such a huge Terra for my opponent here to give them the extra damage they needed. I think the main turn to point to in this game was when I predicted them to Ice Shard Shaymin and they actually hard switched into Urshifu. That turn, it could have been a surging into Zamazenta. Did I miss? It doesn't really matter anyway, though. Well, hold on. We saw Ice Shard, Ice Spinner. I mean, it's going to be Sucker Punch, right? Wow, if I actually hit that... No, I think I would have still lost anyway. You know, Dazzling this turn. Oh, they have Crunch anyway. Okay. Then we were cooked always. Yeah, basically, my win condition against Shampoo is Water Terra Surging Strikes into it, and they recognized that and did a really good job protecting the Shampoo. So it's like the turn let Shaymin, I had Shaymin plus the Urshifu out, I could have just gone like Air Slash, right? Or Surging Strikes into the Zama slot, but then the Shampoo switch into Urshifu was brilliant. I honestly wasn't sure what they were going to have in the fourth, and I was hoping that they would just get baited into Ice Sharding my Shaymin. So I think recognizing how important it was to conserve Champa was huge, because if Champa goes down there, Lunala by itself already just has a really good end game. Instead, they conserved it all the way until the end. I didn't get enough damage off. And then this Water Terra plus the Sword of Ruin was enough for Urshifu to get the knockouts that it needed to. And so, yeah, like, Shaymin is awesome with Focus Sash, but when you have priority, then that's obviously going to be really big in KOing it. And then, yeah, I was wondering if there was a chance Urshifu would survive there in the end, because if he survived even with 1 HP, we would have knocked out Champow. And then if Champow faints, then the Lunala should win the game for us. But unfortunately, they, yeah, conserved Champow perfectly. So really nicely done. That's a Tropius. And my opponent was rank number 71 as well. That's so cool. I don't really know what this Pokemon does. Like, I have not seen it in my team preview stream at all. So I am personally really excited to see what it has to offer. Either way, otherwise, Miraidon, Groudon, which also is kind of an underplayed restricted duo, but one that I featured in the previous regulation that I really liked. I mean, I'm sure it's some chlorophyll shenanigans, right, from Tropius. I just don't really know what moves it's going to be running here. Okay, I'm leaning towards Shaymin, Lunala, Pelipper. Maybe actually Shaymin Urshifu. Sorry, Shaymin Ursaluna. Peli Lunala. I don't know. I don't love Urshifu here unless I position it absolutely perfectly. It just takes way too much to get to that game state, in my opinion. It's Miraidon, Groudon immediately. Okay. The big question is, what kind of Miraidon set is this? Because if you are Specs, you could just Draco me turn 1. Like, I think Volt Switch into Shaymin is a possibility. The play I want to go for is just protect Headlong Rush into Miraidon. But, like, they could go Fairy Terra Dazzle plus Precipice Plates. They could Draco immediately into me. So there's a lot that could theoretically go wrong. But I'm hoping to bait out a Terra here from one of the two at least. No Terra on either, okay. Which makes me think you're Assault Vest Groudon. Oh, that works. Are they Dracoing me? Nice, it's Overheat. Okay, huge. And Headlong Rush just one-shots you, right? Beautiful. Okay, love that. Getting rid of Miraidon means Pelipper now just thrives so much harder. I have to just respect Whimsicott coming out and encoring me, I think. But that is literally the perfect turn one for us. The only thing that could have gone better was like Groudon tearing as well. Chien-Pao hits the field, that's fine. With Chien-Pao out, I could Tailwind. I don't hate that. I wonder if Giga Impact would sort of ruin one-shots Groudon. But I think I could just Ice-type attack into this, so I should maybe consider switching out. Okay, I'm going Tailwind, switch Impelli. And the idea is to get Lunala under Tailwind in this endgame. Okay, we bait out a Terra, nice. I'm expecting Fire Terra, so now I can just Weather Ball and perfect. Earthquake you. Oh, you are not Jolly Max B Chien-Pao, so it's probably Admin Pao. Or Runation Slow Pao. They crash. Life Orb? Ah. That makes sense. Wow. Okay, Life Orb Pao kind of slaps. The fact it one-shot me there is not great. I mean, I think it's okay, right? Let's think this through. I could bring out Ursaluna. Or I could bring out Lunala. Lunala has a Meteor Beam, which is super effective into either. I think the main thing to cover for is Chien-Pao Protect. This is also 140 speed Ursaluna under Tailwind, but Groudon, if it could still be faster, right? I'm going to Lunala here. Yeah, that brought a ton of momentum back into my opponent's favor. You could Sucker Punch this, or you could just Protect. Okay, I'm going to go and Protect Fairy Terra Meteor Beam. Eliminate Chien-Pao. Maybe Ursaluna was right to bring out, and then with Ursaluna, I just Terra Ghost it. But then I'm weak to Chien-Pao's attacks. And like, Dark-type attacks become so much scarier. The question is whether or not Pao protects here. Okay, they don't. Nice. And they didn't even Sucker Punch. That's huge. Cool. Wonder if it was correct to Dazzling Gleam first here. Because then I would have Meteor Beam conserved for Groudon, which may have been better. But they can change the weather now, which is great. Oh my goodness. Crunch Groudon. Wow. Fortunately, not a huge factor. Whimsicott in. This could encore me. But you can't attack both slots, which is the main deal. Happy to just Air Slash plus Moongeist Beam Whimsicott. I think having won the Weather War is huge. And then, like, now that we've baited out Fire Terra from Groudon, Ursaluna should be a perfect closer. So Whimsicott can Encore one, but not both, and that's key here. Okay, they Encore Lunala, which honestly is the Pokemon I prefer for them to Encore. The main thing here was for us to make sure that we didn't, like, get tripped up and get super scared of Encore. I'm like, look, I know you can Encore a slot, but that's okay. Oh, I could theoretically lose to Endeavor Whimsicott. Can I? Because I still have another turn of Tailwind, right? And they go for Blades here. Yeah, this is fine. You end up not even targeting Shaymin down. Okay. Last turn of Tailwind. Just Air Slash you. We'll see if Whim's got us Protect here. If it doesn't have Protect, Air Slash into Whims, Meteor Beam into Groudon. KO, KO. Oh no. Okay. I mean, this was +2. Does it KO? Nice. It didn't really matter where Meteor Beam targeted there as long as we got a knockout. But I was like, Air Slash miss and Meteor Beam miss would be not very fun. And they did have Endeavor. Yeah, I called it. I was mainly worried we get to an end game where they get to actually beat Ursaluna with the Endeavor tech. But now we can just Air Slash and Moongeist. Oh, I guess I can only Meteor Beam. So it's correct to switch out. Because then I'll have two Pokemon that can just hit Whimsicott. But yeah, I think that game, we had a really good start, obviously. Huge, huge advantage. But they definitely found some nice comeback potential with the Life Orb, Chien-Pao, like Ice Cold Crash KO, and then bringing me down to 1 HP, putting me in potential Sucker Punch KO range. So, was pretty scary. And then the Encore stuff was really cool as well. I was actually surprised Whimsicott didn't hit the field a little bit sooner. But I think it makes sense because Chien-Pao exerts so much offense and is obviously a really good partner for Groudon as well. But yeah, Meteor Beam on Arceus is also really, really cool. Not a very common move that I've seen so far. Okay, we have the team that won the Japanese National Championships. Smeargle, Tornadus, Zamazenta, Raging Bull, Calyrex, Rillaboom. I actually used this team on the channel back in the previous regulation, so if you want to see me play with it, check out the video link down below. This is a really scary matchup, mainly because I think like a well-played Shadow Rider is really scary, and then Smeargle with Spore Pressure is really scary as well. Fake Out and Spore Pressure, I should say. So like Smeargle, Shadow Rider, I think is the main lead that I'm probably most worried about. As well as Torn Shadow Rider, and it's kind of difficult to cover for both of those. Shaymin lead. Thinking Shaymin, Ursaluna here. Urshifu, Lunala. But basically, I think Smeargle plus Shadow Rider, I do not have a safe combo into. You always have some counterplay. The question is whether or not you go for the counterplay, but for example, if I lead Scarf Urshifu, which would be tempting, they could just Fake Out, and we don't have Ghost Terra. But it's going to be Torn plus the Shadow Rider, which I actually think is probably as good of a lead as we'll get here. So I don't hate that. Turn 1 is interesting because if you're my opponent, you could go Protect Shadow Rider and actually Bleak Wind Storm. You could also just Psychic plus Bleak Wind. I'm thinking about protecting here and Shadow Clawing into Calyrex. Okay, they don't protect your Terra. This could be huge for us then. Taunt into Shaymin. Okay, nice. Psychic. This is why you use Assault Vest, Shadow Claw, Ursaluna. Nice. Yeah, I think Shadow Rider is honestly a difficult matchup when played correctly. And so after having like lost against it a bunch, I was like, okay, I think Ursaluna is basically the best answer for it. Zamazenta comes out now. So you can deny me Tailwind. I could Water Terra this. I'm honestly leaning towards Ghost Terra Ursa, because then you just can't really hit me. Ghost Terra Ursa. We want to match your Tailwind. Honestly, this turn I'm thinking about just Air Slashing. Ghost Terra, Giga Impact. I'm Air Slashing also partially because they've revealed a taunt, but I actually do think this turn they probably Bleak Wind or Tailwind. Air Slash does like 25-30% to Zamazenta, which is meaningful damage. And we flinch them. Nice. And they are going to miss as well, so everything going our way here. Bleak Wind miss also into the Shaymin slot. You would think they were body pressing to Ursa, so... And we missed Giga Impact as well. That was one of the craziest turns I've seen in a minute. But that's okay. I'm going to Tailwind now and Giga Impact if they're going to click Bleak Wind again. But they actually just end up forfeiting. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if the Zamazenta was targeting the Shaymin slot that last turn instead of the Ursaluna slot. Maybe. In my head, I was like, if I knock out your Tornadus and I get damage onto the Zama, that should be great. Because I think the reality is with Ghost Terra Ursaluna plus Lunala, the Zamazenta is just rendered useless, right? And so that's kind of the theory behind, I think, this Ursaluna being able to threaten Shadow Rider with a one-hit knockout with the Surprise Shadow Claw is awesome, and then being able to Ghost Terra defensively and offensively is really nice as well. But that was a crazy turn where it's like Air Slash hits, and then it flinches, Bleak Wind then misses, and then Giga Impact misses as well. Okay, Magearna, Ice Rider, Trick Room with Grimmsnarl, Urshifu, Annihilate, and Smeargle. Very similar to the Hard Trick Room Magearna team that I featured to start this format. If you want to see that video, it's linked down below. Annihilate is scary since it's going to be faster than Urshifu. So I lean towards Shaymin, Lunala lead. Actually, I think Shaymin Ursaluna is cool here too, because I can just pressure the Shaymin slot immensely with this. Lunala in the back. And Pelipper fourth. Pelly's actually really solid into Magearna and Ice Rider here with wide guard support. Like, I think if I have Pelipper next to Ursaluna, I can just utilize Ursaluna under Trick Room. Although they'll probably still outspeed us, right? But okay, it's Magearna plus Annihilate, which is a lead that I wanted to see, so I'm happy about that. So I'm leaning towards Air Slash turn 1. And Headlong Rush. They could protect Magearna is the thing here. But then what do you go for with Annihilate? Close combat would be the scariest option. But if you do that turn 2, I'm just going to Terra Ghost my Ursaluna. Nice. And they don't go for a Terra with either. Perfect. And it's Final Gambit. This is where Focus Sash is absolutely huge for us. So now, even if Magearna survives the turn, I also have the 60% chance to flinch. So this is exactly the theory behind leading this. Soul Heart. Long Rush. Beautiful. Very nice. But yeah, I was hedging my bets here because I was like, basically, if you want to beat Scar Final Gambit and Annihilape, having a Focus Sash user is absolutely huge. And then having Pokemon that have more HP than Annihilape is also huge, right? So here I knew if you Final Gambit either slot, I'm going to survive the turn. So worst case is Magearna protecting, but even then it's okay. It's going to be Urshifu plus Ice Rider. Okay. I mean, this is still far from over, so you got to be careful. But it's obviously a good turn 1. You can Sucker Punch us now. And this can just Glacial Lance. This could also just Trick Room right now. These two under Trick Room should be really good. I mean, not under Trick Room, but these two with this Fairy Terra and this Wide Guarding should be good. I went for Air Slash here and just get Impact. Or sorry, Headlong Rush. They're gonna Terra Ice Rider, okay, into water. That makes sense. And they actually detect. Okay. So this gives me the chance to flinch their Ice Rider right now. 60%. And we do get the flinch. Okay. You would think they Sucker Punch now into this, right? And Trick Room. So I could switch expecting the Sucker Punch, but to be honest, like, I think I'd rather just keep them honest. Because theoretically, this could close combat into this slot. So I'm down to launch an Air Slash here into Urshifu. And Headlong Rush into it. And they don't go for the Sucker Punch. It's the close combat. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Crits me there. I don't think it mattered. If I Terra'd the Ursaluna there, I actually would have won this turn, I think. But I'm not sure that was worth risking going for. I like their play there. And their Life Orb. Wait, so they just faint. Oh, wait. They still have like 1 HP left. Whoa. But they end up Glacial Lancing here instead of Trick Rooming, too. Okay. Would have been satisfying to go for Seed Flare there. Now we get Pelipper and Lunala. Wow, Urshifu has like literally 1 HP there. This will faint after 1 more hit. Stare Grass here. My guess is they protect an attack here, but this will faint after 1 more attack. Leaning towards just Hurricane here. Terra, Meteor Beam. Okay. That was a nice close combat play by my opponent. I was expecting Sucker Punch for sure into Trick Room. Nice. They Sucker Punch into Lunala. Cool. That is the best case scenario for us. Okay. The main thing is I was thinking I could have gotten a Seed Flare off into Ice Rider, right? The turn that they knocked out the Ursaluna. Cool. We don't miss. Perfect. Plus 1 Meteor Beam. I think Hurricane gets it here, but let's see. Nice. Perfect. I think it was scary because even after an amazing turn 1, like, the game was still actually far from over and very much felt like a tough position. But yeah, I think them going for Glacial over Trick Room was beneficial for us. I also, yeah, like the Urshifu's Air Slash, no flinch into surviving with 1 HP was really scary there as well. And the lack of Sucker Punch there, I think, was interesting. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't know. If I Headlong Rush, I guess they were probably worried about me outspeeding them under Trick Room with Ursaluna. Because then if you knock out Shaymin, I bring out Pelipper, you set up Trick Room, I can just Wide Guard you, and then you're really going to struggle. So I didn't even end up clicking Wide Guard in this game, but I figured that we should have a really good end game against Ice Rider because I had Wide Guard. So I was like, if I knock out the Urshifu, I should just win the game. But yeah, Urshifu clutched it up there, surviving Air Slash, not getting flinched, and getting a close combat off. But ultimately, like, it just was so low in terms of HP in the end there. So I was thinking, like, the main thing I was worried about there was, like, their Ice Rider actually protecting and then Urshifu getting an attack off. But I figured even if you do that, if you target Lunala, then Lunala's Shadow Shield is broken. That's fine. If you target Pelipper, even if you one-shot me, then it's Lunala versus Ice Rider 1v1. And I have Shadow Shield active, right? And then so 2 Moongeist Beam should KO you. And you need to get 2 Glacials off, but I outspeed you. So I go Moongeist, you Glacial, and then I Moongeist again. I win. If I Moongeist you and you Trick Room, well, then the first Glacial won't knock me out. So I figured, yeah, we should be good in that end scenario there. And partially it was because the Urshifu was always going to KO itself from Life Orb. But I think turn 1 was really cool where it showcased this unique scenario where I could take Final Gambit on either Pokemon, and we denied them Trick Room. All right, we've got Arceus for this one with no Chien-Pao, which is interesting. Shadow Rider, Incineroar, Rillaboom, Urshifu, and Raging Bolt. I've seen this 6 on a Japanese team, and it was like Clear Amulet on Arceus, which makes sense when you don't have Chien-Pao in the composition. Shadow Rider, as always, is going to be the primary problem. To which we've got Ursaluna. And because they have Raging Bolt, I think we have to be very careful about bringing Pelipper or Urshifu. Thinking Shaymin, Ursaluna, Lunala, Ursh. Ursh is still really good here, but it has to be positioned properly. It is strong because it has the ability to potentially just one-shot either Shadow Rider or Arceus. Urshifu plus Arceus lead. I don't love this. You can obviously Surging Strikes into this. So I feel the need to switch out into my Urshifu. Like Air Slash, switch out into Urshifu. Yeah, a lot of the times when I've led this Ursaluna, opponents just lead Shadow Rider, and so I was hoping to see that, but no Shadow Rider makes Ursaluna significantly weaker here. And I think part of the scary dance here is I don't want to just Ghost Terra Ursaluna, because if I do, I'm exceptionally weak to Shadow Rider afterwards. Okay, it's Scarfursh. That's good to know. And fortunately, yeah, we can take that. Air Slash comes out, and it's a one-hit KO. Nice. Let's see what Arceus goes for. Swords Dance. Okay. I mean, Extreme Speed is still so scary. The thing is, we do have Ghost Terra on multiple Pokemon, but like this Urshifu, I think is just gonna go down here. My guess is you just bring out Calyrex, and you just Extreme Speed Astral Barrage. But I guess what's interesting is you would probably Extreme Speed Shaymin, right? Like, how much do you respect the Scarfursh? Oh, it's actually Rillaboom coming out first. Okay. I think that's smart. I mean, low-key, Ghost Terra Seed Flare here would do a ton, right? I'm thinking Ghost Terra this turn because it gives me the immunity to Fake Out as well as Extreme Speed. But I don't know if it's too early to commit to it right now. I'm going to go for a Ghost Terra, Seed Flare here. Close combat. My dream, I mean, I think there's no chance they just Fake Out plus Extreme Speed Shaymin, but the hope here is to just, yeah, get a big Seed Flare off. It's not going to KO them, but that's okay. Okay, nice. It's Extreme Speed. Grassy Glide? Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, we survive. That's huge. Although, to be honest... Oh, I don't get the knockout. I mean, that's a risk. I just didn't expect to actually get that close combat off, and Seed Flare is going to miss. So I can't be too upset about that. You would Extreme Speed or Glide this now. I mean, I think you, yeah, Glide this, E-Speed this. So I want to Protect, switch into Lunala. Yeah, I was thinking, like, that miss actually theoretically may be beneficial because if I connect there, you get a free switch into Calyrex, and then you can just Astro Barrage me. But then I guess I would just Protect Shaymin and then get Lunala in for free. But yeah, when you use Shaymin, you are going to miss Seed Flare. And I could have gone for Air Slash there, but I was looking to maximize damage on Arceus. Problem is now with committing the Ghost Terra, I am going to take a lot more damage from Grassy Glide. Okay, but it is E-Speed into us here. Good. And Glide. Nice. Okay. How many turns of terrain are left? 3. We can look towards stalling it out potentially in this game. Because I think here I can go Tailwind this turn, Meteor Beam into Arceus. Oh, nice. And they glide into Lunala. I mean, that should just win us the game, I think. Unless I miss Meteor Beam. Oh, please. I wasn't confident Dazzling Gleam would actually get the knockout. I didn't want to risk it. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, that's huge that they did not go for the Glide onto Shaymin since now I have my Focus Sash intact. I get where they targeted Lunala, though. Breaking Shadow Shield is obviously really nice. Calyrex comes out. Tailwind is set up. We've got Ursaluna in the back as well, which should be pretty good. Like, I'm thinking we target Rillaboom here. Wide Guard is obvious, and Tailwind is up. I mean, why don't I just double up on Rillaboom? Even if you Astro Barrage me, I have Scarf Urshifu plus Ursaluna in the end game. So I think it's fine to Air Slash here. And Moongeist Beam. Okay, they Terra. Terra Dark, which means now you're weak to close combat. Nice. I actually wonder, like, Rillaboom may have survived if I didn't crit there. The thing is, this turn I was predicting them to protect Calyrex and would hammer into us. I could have won the game by doubling up into Calyrex. Maybe that was worth it. They actually did click Astral. Because basically in this scenario, is like, do you click Astral? You're facing down the threat of Wide Guard, right? I mean, now the game's just over anyway. But yeah, I wonder if Rilla could have survived the +1 Moongeist if I didn't crit. Then you would have needed to attack through flinch as well, obviously, but... Okay, and their life weren't perfect, so now we can just bring out Urshifu. Because the other play I was contemplating was just doubling up onto the Shadow Rider slot with like Air Slash plus Moongeist Beam. Yeah, we still have 2 turns of Tailwind, so we can just Air Slash. Oops, not into ourselves. Air Slash you and Close Combat into you. And Scarp Close Combat comes out and gets the KO. Nice. Yeah, this was definitely a scary game. I think we had a good start. The Arceus was really scary, but the Ghost Terra Shaymin was actually pretty huge in buying us a turn, which was really nice. And I think, like, turn 1, we had a really good trade into the Scarf Urshifu as well, which was obviously great. Oh, boy. There's a Muck and a Darkrai. Smeargle, Calyrex, Rillaboom, Fluttermane. It's probably Gravity, Calyrex, and Psych Up. You use Smeargle, Muck as the lead. I'm wondering if Ursaluna is part of the solution here. I'm just trying to figure out how I can, like, KO Muck before it gets too crazy. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Shaymin, Ursa lead. Lunala, Ursh in the back. I don't know. This one's scary. And this is a new take on Muck as well, which is cool. Like, yeah, you know, Smeargle Muck you used to see, and then your opponent would have stuff like Flamigo, for example. I'd see it in Reg Eye where it'd be Psycho Calyrex as well. So I'm curious if that's what's here. But the theory behind Shaymin plus Ursaluna is I have something that's faster than Smeargle and can pressure with the Air Slash flinch. The thing is, you would probably just go for a Follow Me normally because your goal is to transfer Moody via Power of Alchemy to the Muck. But it's Flutter plus Shadow Rider. Okay. I don't mind that for Ursaluna. Booster Flutter. Okay. My guess is this is Sash then. I don't want to drop my defenses. This probably survives Shadow Claw. My guess is this is oh no, Smeargle should be Sash, so I think we can probably just protect Shadow Claw turn 1. See if we can catch them off guard. I'm happy to not see Smeargle Muck though. It's not the most fun to fight against. My hope would be turn 1 they just try to like knock out the Shaymin. We don't see a Protect come out to start, which is good. Cool. Yeah, Icy Wind plus Astral or Psychic into Shaymin was what I was hoping for. Nice. Okay, that's why we use Assault Vest Ursaluna here. Shadow Claw comes out. Beautiful. Okay, huge. Darkrai can come out now, but you don't have a ton of offense, which is good. Probably want to set up Tailwind with Shaymin now. Rillaboom hits the field, okay. If Rillaboom is going to hit the field here, I think I actually like just going for Ghost Terra with this. And Shadow Clawing this. I could also Ghost Terra here, but then you could Wood Hammer here, which I don't love. Actually, I think we want to conserve Shaymin as well. Yeah, like I'm down to switch Lunala in right now. Ghost Terra here. Shadow Claw into Flutter Mane. Ghost Terra gets around Fake Out, gets around Woodhammer. A lot of times people don't actually run Protect on Booster Flutter anymore because you want to run like Taunt. It's like Moonblast, Icy Wind, Shadow Ball, Taunt. Sometimes we run Thunder Wave as well. So the hope here is I just one-shot the Flutter Mane as well with this and then get down to a 2v4 immediately. Cool. I just Icy Wind, no Fake Out, that's fine. Shaymin obviously takes a ton from Icy Wind, so we don't want that. And they would hammer the Shaymin slot. Nice. To which we survive. Perfect. And now Ghost Terra Shadow Claw once more. Into Flutter Mane, and that one shot's so satisfying. Nice. Obviously, Darkrai is going to come out now. I think with Darkrai out... Oh, did they not bring Darkrai into... What? It's Smeargle. They didn't bring Darkrai. Maybe they were really just spooked out by Wide Guard, which blocks Dark Void. I'll take it. This can Spore. I think it should be okay with what we have in the back here. I think we just want to make sure we break Focus Sash. Meteor Beam onto you. Giga Impact onto you. Once I break Sash, yeah, they're just going to Spore into me. That's fine, because I think we survive Woodhammer, and then Giga Impact just KOs Rillaboom. Let's see. Nice. Turn 1 to Sleep Burnt. And Giga Impact does not miss. Nice. Ursaluna picked up every knockout in this game. That was a crit, but I don't think it mattered. But yeah, one-shot Shadow Rider, one-shot Flutter Mane, one-shot Rillaboom. So satisfying. I'm glad to showcase how you don't necessarily need Guts on Ursaluna for it to be an absolute beast. And now they're just stuck with the Smeargle with no damage. Beautiful. Dazzling. Yeah. I was like, if Smeargle was transformed there, it could make things a little bit more interesting. But even with transform, I don't think you can beat, obviously, 4 Pokemon on my end. So, yeah. I'm just kind of shocked Darkrai didn't come out over the Smeargle. But no, I meant that they had one less damage dealer to work with. Koraidon plus Arceus with Flutter Mane, Chi-Yu, Bolt, and Bonnet. Very similar to the teams that we saw in the World Championship Finals this year. But no Ghost type, there's no Lunala, or no Ghost restricted, I should say. No Lunala, no Shadow Rider. Instead, it's Arceus. Normal Arceus without Chien-Pao here is really interesting. I find Arceus to be a really scary Pokemon to fight against. I think we bring Pelipper. I think we probably bring Bolt because of Bonnet, Shaymin, Lunala. Man, that means no Urshifu, though, which, honestly, I would love to bring. Huh. Like, I'm leaning towards Shaymin, Bolt, Lunala, Pelipper, but I'm just worried that this means I'm not very strong to Arceus. Honestly, I think there's a world where you drop Shaymin for Urshifu in this matchup. I think it can make some sense. Because it's like, Urshifu threatens Arceus with close combat, threatens Brute Bonnet with close combat, as well as Chi-Yu, and then it has Surging Strikes into Flutter. If Koraidon Terras into Fire, you can Surging Strikes that as well. But, I don't know. I just think it's kind of hard to position in this matchup. Because I essentially, in order for Urshifu to get value, I need it out in the rain. Right? Which means that they would need to have the sun out on the field first, and then Pelipper is out on the field afterwards. Bonnet plus Arceus. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, because I have safety goggles here, I kind of want to just go for Seed Flare and Draco Meteor. Because I ignore Rage Powder here, and you can't Spore either slot. So this is actually pretty ideal. This is part of the reason why Goggles exists on the Bolt. Okay, Seed Flare comes out. No special defense drop, and it's Meteor Beam. Okay, that's cool. Well, that answers my question for what kind of Arceus set this is. So that brings me down to 1 HP. Draco connects, but I don't think this KOs. Oh, it does. Nice. Okay. So then I actually didn't need the special defense drop, which meant Air Slash would have been better there. Oh, no. If I Air Slash, though, I don't KO you. But they Spore. Okay, great. I mean, honestly, that's not a terrible trade, but it was also really cool to see what kind of Arceus set it is, because I'm so used to the physical extreme speed sets. But this is exactly why we brought the Raging Bolt. Now they have Sucker Punch pressure into me, to which I could Tailwind. And they bring out their Bolt. I don't mind Tailwinding here, I think. Tailwind switching to Lunala. I actually don't want Shadow Shield to be broken, though, is the thing. Might stay in here. But I want to Fairy Terra this. I'm thinking Tailwind and just Draco Meteor into Bolt. Nice, they Sucker Punch. And then Tailwinds. Draco doesn't miss. That looks like a Solvest to me. I would have preferred to get one hit KO there. Would have given me a free switch into Lunala. Conserving this for Koraidon also isn't a terrible idea. Yeah, this is still really awkward. Just by nature of being brought down to Sash. Because I need another knockout before I want my Pelipper to hit the field, but it's not that easy to get that knockout. Leaning towards switching Lunala and Protect here, but this is risky because they theoretically could Spore me right now, which would not be great. Like, it would be a really bold call. Okay, good. Switched into the Shaymin slot. Shaymin. Maybe they Sucker Punch that slot as well, actually. A double up into that slot makes a ton of sense to me. But this is okay now, because you bring out Koraidon, but then now I can just bring out Pelipper, right? Although low-key, I wonder... Turns of Tailwind left. Like, this probably Terras this turn, right? And this protects? Or just Terra fires? Because I want to Fairy Terra Meteor Beam. But I think if I'm my opponent, I'm going Protect with this and then Spore into this. Okay, I'm going Fairy Terra, Gleam, plus switch in Pelipper. Just a little bit nervous about how this plays out if Lunala falls asleep and Koraidon protects this turn. Which I honestly think is decently likely, is the outcome here. The priority is just what makes this so much tougher for me to deal with, in my opinion. What? Okay, well, actually, this makes sense if you don't expect Dazzling Gleam, which normally people run. Moonblast, right? But nice. That just wins us the game. That's why Dazzling Gleam can be a really cool attack. I mean, honestly, though, like, I think even if I were Moonblast there, the lack of Terra is what's really surprising to me, because that just wins us the game instantly. Like, I thought they had to Terra, like, you protect Koraidon, Terra Bonnet that turn, or just protect Terra the Koraidon. But the lack of Terra on either, like, yeah, means we should just win immediately. Just double check the game state. 1 turn of Tailwind, couple turns of Rain. Dazzling, and you can Thunderclap this slot. So I actually don't mind. I think the best play is actually Meteor Beam into you to cover for Terra, and then protect with you. It's Bolt Terraing, okay? Into Electric. Yeah, I'm just shocked by that last turn. Like, I thought it would have surely you Terra one thing, but that was like the absolute best outcome, where I'm sure they didn't expect Dazzling Gleam, and the lack of Terra meant that, like, we just get 2 knockouts. Or sorry, I shouldn't say 2 knockouts. A knockout plus a bit. They went for Sucker Punch there. I didn't think Sucker Punch plus Electric Terra Thunderclap would have KO'd me, but I actually think because we were so far up ahead, it would have been more optimal to actually attack with Pelipper there, because it also hedges for a Meteor Beam miss. But now it should just be game over with the 4v1. And they did actually double up into Lunala. But yeah, Thunderclap wouldn't have KO'd us with Sucker Punch there. Cool. Now we can just go for Moongeist Beam plus Weather Ball. And while Bolt is bulky, it can't knock out 4 different Pokemon all at once. But yeah, I think this game was very scary because of the threat of priority. So, no Thunderclap comes out here. Moongeist almost just KOs. And Weather Ball delivers the finishing blow. Nice. But yeah, I think the key turn was Rage Powder and Koraidon just attacking. I didn't think I would get away with Fairy Terra Dazzling. I did. I was expecting Koraidon Protect, like I said, or Bonnet Terra, and then Spore into the Lunala slot. So I considered switching Lunala out into Shaymin, but I figured I should at least pressure with offense and bait out a Terra, and even if I get put to sleep, it's not the end of the world, because then I have Fairy Terra Lunala in the rain against Koraidon plus Bonnet, and you're going to need a couple turns to reposition out of that, so I can burn some sleep turns, but ended up working out even better than expected. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me. I think coming into this video, I didn't really have super high expectations of Shaymin, and it's definitely not like the most powerful mythical Pokemon, but I was thinking, oh, if you don't get lucky with it, like get Air Slash Flinches or Special Defense drops, it's just not going to look very good. And honestly, Shaymin was still pretty impressive throughout the course of this episode. I think the reality is Flying and Grass is a unique combination, like gives you really solid offense, and Seed Flare is a very powerful Grass type attack in particular, obviously. And there aren't that many strong special Grass type attackers in this format. And so even without the secondary effects, Shaymin was actually still pretty awesome. And of course, in the times that it were able to get secondary effects, it was even more awesome. This team also has some really cool surprises, whether it be the Assault Vest Shadowclaw Ursaluna, of course, or the Fairy Terra Dazzling Gleam on the Lunala. And so really fun to be able to feature this one. So thanks so much as always for watching. Thank you to Ryota for building and sharing the team, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.